According to the dictionary, a clairvoyant is one who has the power of discerning objects not present to the senses. An astrologer foresees the influence of the stars upon human affairs or terrestrial events. Both of these fields are generally regarded as psychic phenomena. Are these practices forms of deception, or are they legitimate approaches to problem solving? And if they are, what meaningful relationship should a black psychic have to black people? We've asked a clairvoyant and an astrologer to shed some light in these areas. With me in the studio are Lillian Cosby, a well-known clairvoyant. Mrs. Cosby lectures at colleges and universities throughout the country. Jeritha Love, one of America's foremost black astrologers with clients all over the world. Mr. Love is also a lecturer and is writing a book on astrology and black people. Sister Cosby?
Number one, our society shuts us off. They don't want to accept us because we are psychics. They always feel that you're weird, you're an oddball, that you're somebody that creeped up out of the rug when you least expect them. But I always find it easy to get into the door when people know me as Lillian and not as a psychic. Then these things happen. I want people to know that this is so real, that I didn't study, I didn't go into this because it was my choice. Someone chosen to give me this gift long before I knew there was such a thing as a gift.
When did you first know you had a gift?
Well, I can think the very first time, I think it was about the age of 7 or 8. When that time I was really involved in a lot of social work in the Sunday school. And I have to say it was social because at that time, being a child, couldn't be nothing else but a lot of fun. And it was fun to me. But the most striking event happened when I was 15. And that particular morning, I didn't want to go to school. And my mother insisted I go that day. And I told her why I didn't want to go to school. I told her that I was going to be caught in an accident and I didn't want to get hurt. And she felt that I was making this story up. Because all during those years, I had a habit of visualizing anything that I wanted to see or do, and I dramatized it, you know. So she figured it was one of my little things I was going through. And she insisted I go to school. And she gave me some car fare. And I was reared in a family that if you had a lie to tell, you better not tell it. So I took the money and I rode to school. And just as I was ready to step up on the curb, if anyone is familiar with Philadelphia, at 46 in Cheston, in that vicinity, I was hit by a truck.
Jeritha, how did you get interested in astrology? And what has it done in terms of shaping your life, making you accepted, rejected, etc.?
Well, Tony, insofar as I can remember, my father was the first one who ever mentioned astrology to me. It seemed that in his travelings around in the country, he had occasion to work for some people who were following this ancient science. Incidentally, they were cattle raisers or milk cow raisers. And it seems that at this particular time, there was quite a bit of danger as I understand it, of underland fever. It was found later that this came from the milk of the cows. And it appears that these people who were milk producers were following the stars, and they were milking the cows at a certain time in the evening, and that they were following the phases of the moon. And upon my father's question, they told him that it was the science of astrology that enabled them to get the milk at the proper time, and also they were pasteurizing it before anyone in the country were actually doing this, boiling the milk to more or less kill the bacteria. And so he sort of picked up a primary knowledge of astrology while working for these people, because I questioned him about it when he told me that I should study astrology. Heretofore, this knowledge has been kept hidden, as I referred to before, by the possessors of it. For instance, the world's greatest and most valuable collection of books on astrology is in the Vatican. And it's known among all astrologers that the Pope and the cardinals and these people are master astrologers.
Well, why don't they teach Catholics if they're master
And
astrologers?
it is an occult science, as I said before, and occult means hidden. So therefore, in keeping with the occult laws, they have kept it hidden. For instance, in this country, for years, the definition of astrology was a pseudo-science. They sort of set up a type of dispute around this science. That is to keep others from knowing what they were doing. You see, originally this science was originated by the priest. It is commonly known by modern astrologers who say that the sign Pisces rules the black people. This is a tragic and erroneous statement, because Pisces, as everybody knows, is a state of grace. It's a sign of regret, self-undoing, and sorrow, tears. And this might be one of the reasons that they have assigned this sign to the black people. All people have a sign assigned to them according to their native characteristics. However, I would like to clear that up and tell you that every location on earth has a particular sign designation in accordance with the celestial arrangement of the heavens. Therefore, Cancer, ruling the area between the 40th south and 40th north location on earth.
Longitude and latitude?
This is the latitude, going around the belt or the waist of the earth, is under the sign of Cancer. And everybody knows that the so-called black man had his origin there. So consequently, he comes under the sign of Cancer. Therefore, the moon is his star to follow. It is the only star in the heavens that has no light of its own. It shines with the reflective light. It reflects the light of the sun. The moon is known as being rather mystical, sensitive, changeable, mutable, that is, taking on the characteristics of anything that it comes in contact with. It is known to have rather psychic powers. This meaning an interfeeling or sensitivity to things that are happening or things that are to come. It also rules the water as a mineral, or one of the principal elements that make up our universe. So this sign, therefore, I'd like to clarify today, is the sign which rules the black people.
All right, if we are the things that you
Now,
say, sensitive people, aware of the future, what is our future?
Your future,
As black people, what is our future?
the future of black people is wrapped up in the basic characteristics of Cancer, which is the sign of civilization. Civilization, that is to say, those who do not make war, but feed and nurture the fruitfulness and the creativity of a people. It is a sign of the mother, since it rules the anatomical part of the body, the breast, which feeds us, which we all are fed upon. And I might call to your attention that in the natural sequence of the horoscope, this is the bedrock or foundation of the entire scheme of the world. The future is always projected by the phases and the movement of the moon. You've heard of the first quarter or the first phase of the moon. This is because of the moon passing between the sun and the earth, and it appears in different forms or shapes, slivers, sort of crescent shape, and the phases are identified by the particular shape or appearance of the moon. It is known as the new moon, or the wasting moon, or the waxing moon, which is new. That is after the moon has apparently embraced the sun and then passed on with vitality, drive, and fruitfulness.
Well, as Jeritha was explaining about the moon, I was feeling that this is the time that the black people become, it's like planting something. They had been under the earth, buried for a long time. And as I see it now, it's just like someone is going to build a new foundation, and just by chance, they had hit the soil where the black people had been buried for so long. And they're turning it up now. And the phases of the moon, where he says the wasting of the moon, things going away, it has been going away for over centuries for the black man. But now it's where the moon is beginning to show favoritism. The black man is rising up slowly. He's learning now what to do with what he has. He's had this knowledge for many, many years. For instance, when you plant a dahlia, the root that is buried deep, when you dig it up the next year, you have 2 tubes instead of 1. 2 bulbs instead of 1. So you break them off. And this is what happened to the black man. He has been buried so long. There are many bulbs that's going to come to surface, and you can branch them off and break them, and then you can find him taking place all over the universe. In every phase of that chart, a black man will stand out, and he will rise up and be able to demand his rights. If I remember correctly my history, beginning of time, it was the black man. When our pyramids were built, our black men were the ones who built them. And we didn't have the machinery, or we didn't have scientific methods of getting an object or a rock or a stone and put it together and build these beautiful buildings and beautiful edifices, but these things still stand today. That was done by the black man. But through our history, these things was pushed so far back that we forgot them. Also, I see here that as a nation, we won't be a black man ruling over white man or white man ruling over black man. We be put together, and you wonder what color we are. Color won't even matter. Our souls and minds are going to come in, and our minds will rule. But yet the black man will have a specific place. We have a place now, but we'll be able to know this. See, we're not too sure of ourselves now. Our footing is sort of shaky, but we're going to have the confidence as the moon goes around, as you can see.
Well, how are these things going to come about? How is a society going to come about where the black man will be equal to the white man, there will be no difference, and so forth?
Well, our freedom, because we'll be able to live our life naturally. When I say naturally, don't get me wrong. When I talk about natural, people think your hairstyle or eating raw foods. This is not what I'm talking about. Something that's within you, that you didn't manufacture and place it there. The same as being a psychic. It's so natural that people wonder that we are really weird because we say things and we do things that you couldn't dream of. This is a black man. This is part of his heritage. It's real. And he, for instance, in our culture, our arts, the black man has it already. And he'd be able to have more confidence in himself to bring it out. In our government, maybe not today, but very soon, we'll be able to stand equal. We have the knowledge, but we have the confidence to bring it out. In our music world, there are the arts, again, we will bring it out. We have been doing it all along, and we have been giving our knowledge to someone else, and someone else has brought it out and exploited us. So this is one of the things that I see here. I don't know how to read these charts and the symbols, but I can just tell what I feel.
Just confining ourselves to your specific kind of talent. Who do you think will be elected president in 1972?
Well, at this moment, it is quite questionable. Our President Nixon is doing a tremendous job, I say, in keeping into the public's eye, and that is also things he's doing is quite favorable and unfavorable, but being a politician, it was a very good move. Let me say this to you, making a very broad statement. If he becomes elected, I do not feel strongly that he would serve his 4 years. But there is
Do you see some illness?
He has an illness that is kept quite secret from the public that he is trying to take care of now. But I also see a dark horse, someone we don't know right now that will come up in the presidential election.
What about the war in Vietnam?
Well, there again, our president will make a very strong stand just before the presidential election to free our boys, to bring them home. But to me, I get it, it's coming home in one door, but war being another door, almost simultaneously.
You mean we will get out of Vietnam and immediately become involved in another war?
Well, when we say the word war, there's many kinds of wars. We have all kinds of wars now. The drug war, economy war, all kinds of war. Yes, there will be another war. But I want to say that we should be very careful far as Japan is concerned. I feel Japan is very restless now. The restless I feel is almost the restless that I think our nation felt in Pearl Harbor. And please don't misunderstand me when I make that statement. Pearl Harbor, I was in school at the time, but I can remember the rumbling among the students. And the rumbling I feel now is the same kind of feeling, but a different kind of war.
What about Africa? What do you foresee as the future of Africa and international relations?
Well, there's a lot of cleaning up to be done there before we can get that together. Africa has its own personal problems. And right now, United States has theirs so much that I don't feel that the United States is going to be a great assistance to Africa or the kind of need or help that Africa should have. Africa is going to do a lot on their own. They're using their mind tremendously, trying to get their thing together. We, in the Western world, play short our concepts of what our mind can do. We're so busy using our body and our hands that we forget to use our mind, and that's going to defeat us.
How do you mean defeat us?
We're being defeated now. When you see the drug war on, if that's not affecting our mind, I don't know what else is doing. All the other wars that affected our body has killed us and burned us and ground. So that didn't stop us. We still had more children and raised up more boys and girls to go to war, and we kept on raising up a nation. You think back when we talk about the coming of Christ or the coming of a Messiah. Well, you should stop and think and ask some of the people who lived here before 1914, what was it like?
Before 1914?
Yes, 1914. What was it like then? It was wars going on then. Then in 1940, the children that were brought into the world then. And then the war, Korean, now the war on drugs. All these things leading up to defeat a nation. And they said, and this all comes out in the Bible and Revelation, rumors and rumors of wars, and each war is to break us down and tear us down and to take something from us so we won't have nothing left. And I don't think this has anything to do whether you're black or white.
Then are you predicting the destruction of America?
Absolutely. If we don't clean up this drug, we won't have a nation. Not America, a world. And this is what's happening, and we're not really facing facts. We're not even thinking that the Bible has anything to do with our nation. It does. It's telling us of our history, our heritage. And this drug on war is really taking a stronghold, and it's almost winning.
The Bible is full of allusions, astrological allusions to the end of the world. It's actually inspired writings of men who had observed the phenomenons in nature, which there again is associated with the science of astrology.
A lot of people say that 1994, is it?
Yes, that is the
What's supposed to happen in 1994?
At that particular time, insofar as we can read what the stars indicate, it is said that the country which is in power, and that is the United States, it said that they will have withdrawn from all the places of the world, and they will be contained within their own hemisphere or continent. And then this particular hemisphere in which the United States exists will be rife with fire and war and strife until the new regime comes.
What's
This
that mean?
is predicted in Revelations as well as being indicated in the science of astrology.
What do your stars tell you that the new regime will be?
It tells me that it will be a regime of liberality, freedom, individual respect, science, a quite advanced scientific nation of people who will be ever peaceful and quite forward in their quest in space. It'll be very scientific. It'll be more objective. They won't be as so personal and so sociable as they are today, yet they will exist in a much more peaceful state. That is after the process of polarity is over.
What does that
going
mean?
on today?
Explain polarity to me.
Polarity, to put it in common words, means a separation of elements from each other, which constitutes a positive or a negative side, which we have in all things. It's a natural process. This is what is going on among the black people today. The process of polarity. They really don't know where they're going and what they're going to do after this cry of black power and making their statement that they're no longer going to be oppressed, you see. This is the process of a natural process, which is in keeping with the universal laws or the manifestation of nature as we know it. All things separate. To say it biblically, it is a separating of the wheat from the shaft. We must take sides, and we're going to take sides from the natural force of things. It's only a natural thing.
Well, how does polarity relate to black and white people?
It relates in this respect that the black people are now in the process of separating themselves completely from the white people, the so-called white people.
Why?
So they can establish an identity and be respected as such, and therefore take a part in the management of the world, or
What
the
about
conditions of the world.
What about the Aquarian age? What does that mean?
The Aquarian age is the age of freedom. It is an age of scientific intuition. It's the age of humanitarianism. That is, the Aquarian age personifies the attitude of help for the many as opposed to the few. The sign of Aquarius will be in the mid-heavens. That means the uppermost sign or astrological influence, that is from the heavens. Taurus will be ascending, Scorpio will be descending, and Leo shall be the nadir or the foundation of the coming civilization in the year 1994. Now there's some controversy as to when the Aquarian age starts. I get mine from the mathematics that went into the building of the pyramid or the Sphinx of Giza, which sits geographically and mathematically in the center of the world and was made and created by black people. The Aquarian age will bring freedom, liberation, and individual respect for every creature that inhabits the earth after the destruction. Scorpio will bring the healing powers of procreation. Leo will bring the renaissance in education, because it is education that has brought about the oppression, because it has been programmed for a particular reason, that is to keep the people subjected and to perpetuate those who are in power. Taurus will bring a new age of economy predicated upon the only true values on earth, and that is earth. And there will be no more taxes on the individual or people, but only on productive land, which is the only natural and fair system of economy known to man. That, therefore, I say that we're all awaiting.
Both of you are consistently saying, you just said after the destruction, she has said that she has predicted the demise of America. Specifically, in your estimation, how is this destruction going to take place? Specifically, will it be a race war? Will it be a war between China and the United States, or what?
Is a war, as the stars indicate, is it a war between the different ideologies, those who subscribe to different ideologies. One is slavery and the other is freedom. So it is a war between slavery or freedom. This is what the stars indicate.
What do you see, Lillian?
Well, talking with the freedom and astrological signs, this is true. If you notice, our society is playing down astrology or psychic ability because once that we recognize it and use it to our benefit, we have opened up a great avenue. We are trained to use our mind and to think forward. And this is what we're holding on to. And if we pay no attention to society, we'll be able to branch out and become better people.
But what should we do now?
We should take definite sides. We should not straddle any issues. Astrology indicates this, which is the universal laws.
Which side should black people take?
They should take the side of identifying themselves with the cause of freedom for black people. They should take all of their talents and whatever their natural gifts are in this struggle for freedom. And therefore, they will win and be in a unique position of leading the world to spiritual and material and social happiness and strength and power.
This was an incident, that I remember when Hezakya had a vision in the valley. And years ago, people talked about the dry bones. And when Hezakya saw that vision, he wasn't talking about people being buried in the cemeteries or whatever, or being cremated. He was talking about you and I walking down the street and can't say, "Good morning, Mr. So-and-so," or "How do you feel, Mrs. Ann? How's your children?" Anytime a person can walk past you and can't give you a warm welcome or can't even speak, we're dead. That person's bones is dead. These are the things that Hezakya saw during that time. He asked for the power of God to come down and to breathe into the people, and that was when a new nation. This is why I know that we're not at the end of destruction completely. We're at the end of things that has been bad, and there's such great hope for our nation.
We've heard on this program from a clairvoyant and an astrologer, both of whom have made some rather startling predictions and have made an attempt to put their particular fields into a perspective of legitimacy and relevance to black people.